welcome back to another Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Today we are going to talk about the different fill lines on different shaped jars and why it's important to make sure that they're not overfilled. So first we have our 22 ounce cylinder jar here. This is a mostly straight-sided jar, as you can see. And we've got the wax, or actually in an effort to kind of not be wasteful, we're using water with food coloring. But we've got it filled up here with about 1.5 centimeters away from the top of the jar. And you want to make sure that you're not filling your jars all the way to the top. Even if there's just a teeny tiny bit of room left, wax expands as it melts, and so you have a very high probability that the wax will spill over the sides of the jar if you overfill it. So for this straight-sided 22 ounce cylinder, we want to keep it about 1.5 centimeters from the top of the jar. And next we have another jar that is mostly straight-sided. This is our 22 ounce cube jar. Again, you can see that we've got this guy filled up with about 1.5 centimeters of room from the top of the jar. And then finally, in our straight-sided category, we have a very popular jar. This is our 9 ounce straight-sided round jar. This one is a little bit different from the other two in that it does have a slightly more narrow neck and little bumps here. We like to call that the shoulders of the jar. And as you can see here, we've got this filled up just right where the shoulders flare out from the neck of the jar. Again, if you overfill this and get it up into the threads of the jar where the lid would go, what is going to start to happen is you'll see the wax around the neck of the jar will start to pull away, and you'll get these big gaps, and you can also get sinkholes. So if you fill it up too much, you have a higher probability for sinkholes in your candles. So now we're going to look at some jars that have a little bit more flair to them. This is our 11 ounce tureen jar. This is a pretty differently shaped jar from the rest of the containers that we carry, mainly because it is wider at the base than it is up at the top. So you can see this is the neck of the jar and the shoulders here, and we've got this one filled up just below where this little bump is that I'm catching with my nail here. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but you want to fill it up to just below that little bump, and again, that's keeping the wax out from the neck of the container, so you don't get any gapping or sinkholes. And then next we're going to look at our 15 ounce Libby Storage Jar. This has a much more visible neck and shoulders here. As you can tell, we've got it filled up just below where the shoulders come out there. This is about 1.5 centimeters down from the neck of the jar. So if you're using those from the bottom of the neck of the jar here down to where the fill line is, it's about 1.5 centimeters, just like the other guys. And then we have a more unique jar, one that I really like. This is our 12.6 ounce oval hexagon jar. You can see it's wider on one side than it is on the other. This one is a little bit more unique. You can see these little almost scalloped edges here, and down where these little points are, that's where you want to have your fill line. Especially on a jar like this, if you go up too far into these shoulders or the neck, you will definitely get some big gapping and almost will certainly get sinkholes if you overfill a jar like this. So make sure that you're putting it right there at the little point where these little scalloped sides are. And then our last example is one of our most popular jars. This is our 8 ounce mason jar. And this one, as you can see here, there's a little bitty line here where maybe like a label would go. It's just kind of a little lip. And we've got the wax line just above that little lip here. Again, if you go too far up into the neck of this jar, especially on a jar that's kind of square shaped here, you're going to get some gapping on these little corners. And again, you will almost certainly get sinkholes if you overfill any of these jars that have a more narrow neck and wider base. Okay guys, that's it for this week's video. We hope you enjoyed. Tune in next week to learn more.